Europe is evolving. Learn how in Parlamento.
The European Greens, strongly inclined towards alternative policies, have not built up great numbers in the 30 years or so they've been striving to establish a presence. Even in coalition with the European Free Alliance regionalists, among the outgoing European Parliament's 785 members, they've only counted 43. Yet they've never shied from speaking their mind.
Monsieur le Président, c'est une honte, c'est minable d'aller à l'ouverture des Jeux Olympiques. Merci.
Goading the traditionally more powerful political groups in the interest of spurring renewal is part of a long-term strategy.
We are very united, the most united group in voting together. We don't function by national delegations. We don't have power struggles or negative influence from government or parties. We're autonomous and we try to be European.
The difficulty is that there's a grand coalition between the PES and the EPP, which somewhat blocks the Parliament. It's a tough job to crack that tendency towards a grand coalition. In Strasbourg, when we voted on a resolution on supporting the automotive industry in Europe, no environmental conditions were attached. It means the major forces are not thinking about the future.
The Greens originally forged their identity around one subject, the environment. It's still their main concern, even though they've broadened their field of political fire to encompass civic rights and social justice. They're keen promoters of modern tools in the general interest of limiting pollution.
The target agreed is 20% less CO2 until 2020, but to keep the global warming process under the red line of 2 degrees requires that industrialized countries like, for example, Germany and France reduce their CO2 emissions until 2020 by 40%. And to be able to do this, we must use all efficiency technologies.
Small in numbers, big on ideas, the group proposes nothing short of a green version of Roosevelt's New Deal. Their integrated stimulus program advocates a response to today's pervasive recession by harnessing eco-technologies for renewable energy sources, housing and transport.
We have a situation where our central bank...
They see this creating 5 million new jobs.
First is to push European car makers to hybrids and hybrid electric engines, and second is to train, to retrain some of the workforce, because it is impossible to keep these people, all these people in the automobile industry. And the wind turbine production or production of minibuses and trams is very close to the skills of these workers.
The Greens have no European-level members from the new EU member states, though they are present at national level. Yet the head of the Romanian list in these European elections insists the green agenda can no longer be considered as an extraneous luxury in the EU.
Can we face a general European Eastern bankruptcy? We have done nothing, just open gigantic supermarkets and encourage a trolley-pushing society and a huge private debt which went into consumer goods. So we basically are now a lot further into debt and a lot worse and a lot poorer because we own huge amounts of money which were lended by you.
The Greens face a challenge in adapting their principles to social measures. A regional politician in Brussels found this when she worked with the Greens in the past.
I'm 100% behind the concept of equitable consumption, but it must be accompanied by social measures. Not everyone today can afford to buy equitably with incomes which are sometimes very low. People who can't make ends meet at the end of the month have other priorities than thinking about equitable consumption.
This Danish analyst agrees that the Greens have to gauge the consequences of what they're advocating with the daily life of ordinary Europeans.
It's true that when you talk about a green agenda and the environment, people have a tendency to also think, well, that is also 10 years from now, but what we need today is social change or economic payoffs or things like that. So that combination of the green agenda and how that has direct influences on people's day-to-day lives is very important for the Green Party to make.
Observations like this don't dilute the Greens' conviction. The co-presidents of the group refute any allegation that they are not in step with reality.
It's not that we're not competent. The response to the social and economic crisis lies in ecological transformation. It is an immense challenge for society.
Take the first directive reached through European Parliament co-decision on immigration. The civil organizations rallied massively, but the result was very negative. Most of the socialists and conservatives agreed on a bad compromise, which harmed our global credibility.
Anche a livello globale.
If we just say the base, what we want is social security for the people who lose jobs and ecological transformation. To make this politics, we need new people, a new commission, and we can't accept that the heads of state, that the parties, the Christian Democrats, the Conservatives in Europe decide before the election that the next president of the Commission will be Barroso. We say no.
It would be ridiculous for us, the Greens, to propose an alternative candidate. We say the great force of opposition, the Social Democrats, they have someone. It's Nyrup Rasmussen. Everybody knows it. We'd support him. We've said so time and again.
The Greens, unlike other groups, are not only the only one to pluralise their name, they have chosen to have their leadership shared on a socio-political basis.
It's the symbol of a group with strong personalities which we want to gather together, and the two presidents are two of these personalities who are capable of doing that. That's a strength which is agreeable to have when you're co-president.
I think we've opted for complementarity and a better standard of living, in the sense that having two co-presidents lets you do a better job, less stress and more sharing.
We weren't hatched from the same egg, so there are different sensitivities and emotions, but that's what's interesting.
The June elections are an opportunity for the Greens to grow. Countries not yet represented among them perhaps also gaining seats.